All right, family, it's CHAMPSIDE checking in with the legendary promoter, Hall of Fame, Mr. Bob Arum. How you doing, Mr.
Good.
Arum? Witnessing you and Eddie Hearn in that press conference, it was something magical. You guys, so many different moments with Devin Haney there and Regis there. What did you think about Mr. Hearn's press conference earlier this week out there, to announce this fight? The clash of the dunes in Saudi Arabia between Andy Ruiz and Anthony Joshua.
I can't go to war with Eddie the way I did with Don King, because Eddie is, age-wise, not a contemporary. But even more, I did fights for years with his father, Barry, who formed Matchroom. And Eddie was a little kid, So when I give him the stick, which I do a lot, he knows that it's, well-intentioned.
Yeah, it's all love.
It's all love, yeah. So, I don't know if I would have handled it the way Eddie did with this announcement. I would have thought that Eddie was smart enough to have gotten both fighters on the dotted line for the specific fight with the money, or rather than jump in, do a press conference, and try to bully and bulldoze Ruiz, because Eddie can't. First of all, contracts don't fight, and secondly, Eddie is faced with a difficult situation. If he said, "All right, I'm doing this fight in Cardiff, Wales," under the contract, the rematch contract, Ruiz couldn't have said anything. But now he says, "I'm doing it in Saudi Arabia," and Ruiz say, "Hey, my own State Department says I shouldn't go over there because it's not safe and this and that and what." So he has a perfect excuse to say, "Hey, no, I ain't going." I assume that he'll solve it, but he'll solve it with a lot more money than he would have if he had done it up front.
And you've been doing this since before Mr. Eddie Hearn was born, right? And he made a comment that, promoters have been, everybody's wanted to get the mega fight in Saudi Arabia. And I know Manny Pacquiao, you probably have had those offers. How true is it, and how do you see and view Saudi Arabia as a promoter who's done all that?
I don't want to get into the political thing. But, we've talked with people in Dubai, Abu Dhabi, and I would certainly do a fight there. And I think eventually there'll be big fights there in the Mideast. And whether Eddie is right or wrong doing a fight in Saudi Arabia, I'm not going to address. People have different views. And that's not a political question that really. He asked me about immigrant rights. He asked me about civil rights. I'll talk about that. The other stuff may be a little more complicated. I'd rather not even address it. But he definitely should have had both guys sign